Hello, I am Jacques and I'm going to introduce you the Blind Midi app. In a live situation, this app will allow you, thanks to your controllers, to change parameters in a mode that we call the blind mode. First of all, you have to launch the Blind Midi app and connect your controllers to your computer just like usual. Your controller will appear in the Blind Midi window. Select it and go in Ableton to unselect it. So you will notice that the Blind Midi app appears in the Ableton like if it was a MIDI controller. It's important to activate the input and output like a MIDI controller. To use the blind mode correctly, we need 3 buttons and 3 faders. We can map it on the same controller we're going to use to control Ableton. By clicking on the Midi Learn button, you will activate the Midi Learn mode. Just choose the 3 buttons and faders you want to dedicate to the blind MIDI control and map it on your controller like you would do in Ableton. Okay, so now is the funny part. So let's say I am on the middle of a concert and I want to do some really surprising effect, and for this I would need to change a lot of parameters at the same time. So this one, all those parameters, I can change it with my controller, like usually, but the problem is that I am a human being, and so I have only 2 hands, and so my 2 hands doesn't allow me to do the surprising effect I want to do because I cannot change the parameter as fast as I would expect to surprise the crowd. So what I can do now, thanks to the Blind Midi app, I just activate the blind mode and do whatever changes I want to do on my controller. But I won't hear it at this time, because the blind mode is activated, so I change it blindly. Then I deactivate the blind mode, and whenever I want, I can just use the one blind MIDI fader to change all the parameters I ordered when I was in the blind mode. So now, let's say I am in the beginning of the concert, and I want to do some really slow introduction that would need some really slow parameter changes. But the problem is, and I cannot use one of my hands to change the value of a parameter like during 30 seconds or even like 10 minutes because I have some other stuff to do, you know. So for this, it's the same thing. I just activate the blind mode, then change all the parameters I want to change. But then I use the duration fader and set a duration. So for you to see, I will set 5 seconds. And then instead of using the blind MIDI fader, I will use the smooth button. By pressing the smooth button, I ask the Blind Midi app to execute the parameter changes that I set while I was in Blind Midi mode. So the Blind Midi app will do it according to the duration and the curve that you set using the duration and curve fader. So now I'm going to press smooth, and you can see that the parameters I set take 5 seconds to go to their targeted value. Even if the button is called smooth, you can set the duration at 0 seconds, and with this setting, you can shape on the go what we call a drop. So as you understand now, this app doesn't do anything that you couldn't already do by pre-programming clips. This app is made for musicians that doesn't want to play the same concert every night, and people like me that has no idea of which parameter they will want to change and when in their performance.